Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show. My name is Steve Van Plew, and on today's episode, we are here to talk with the gentleman who owns a leather care company whose products are taking over the leather industry. It is the owner of Duffs Leather Care, the one and only Bob Bennet. Bob, welcome to the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Let's dive in and let's talk about how did you get started in leathercraft, and where are you today with that?
So I started in Cub Scouts, and that was quite a few years ago. But it's been going on. I took and was doing a lot of leather work in junior high school, got out of it for a while. And then when people would call and say, hey, can you make this for Christmas present? Yeah, and so then we just dabbled in it. And then we started having kids. And they started riding horses and needing tack, and it was cheaper to make it than it was to buy it. And then I lost everything, and my wife I have now took and went and bought me some tools from a pawn shop and got me back into it. And so now it's whatever comes in the shop.
What were those tools that sparked that interest again?
A block of Tandy stamps that had 380 stamps in it.
Wow.
And my wife's going, there's a pawn shop that's got a few leather tools in it. I walk in, I see this block of stamps, and I'm going, holy cow, that's more than a few. And she bought them for me. And that got me started back into it. And we've been doing whatever comes in the shop.
Yeah. Speaking of shop, you have a wonderful, wonderful space and the saddle shop. You have so many machines. You have so much leather and hardware all about. What do you actually do here in the shop?
So we do saddle repairs. We've made one saddle. We belts, knife sheaths, holsters, whatever comes in. I mean, we've got some shoes that we bought the wooden blocks from Maker's Leather Supply that he's got, and I've got 2 orders of those to make. And we found some shoe lasts in Bulgaria that fit those blocks. And so we've got a couple of pairs of those to make. We've got a Aussie saddle that we've got in here to take and redo stirrup leathers because they're too short for this gentleman. We've got a trophy saddle. We've got to put emblems and logos on the fenders. So it's just whatever comes in.
Now, you are a member of the Colorado Saddle Makers Association.
Yes.
Can you talk about what that organization is and how can somebody join? Because I think there's a misconception. People know what it is and they think, oh, I have to live in Colorado to join that. But can you talk about what that is and how can someone join that?
All right. The Colorado Saddle Makers is an organization that started out with, if I remember right, it was Bob Klenda and Dick Shear and some of these guys that started out with putting saddles in the local shows and fairs in Colorado, and they started the Colorado Saddle Makers. We are an organization. We have over 120 plus members. We've got members in Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Nebraska. So we've got members from all over, and everybody's going, oh, Colorado Saddle Makers. One thing neat about that organization is somebody has built something out of leather, and you just ask, and they will teach you and coach you. They will also, they've been there and done that and ruined a side of leather or ruined something and had to buy a side of leather. And so they want to teach you all the tricks and all the secrets. We've got boot makers. We've got saddle makers. We've got guys that do nothing but portfolios. So it is a wealth of knowledge to come to the Colorado saddle makers. We have 3 seminars a year. We've got one coming up in January, which is the winter seminar. That'll be in Price, Utah this coming year. We have one in Grand Junction, Colorado in April. That's our spring seminar. And then we have a fall seminar, which is in Castle Rock. You can go into our website and join. It's $50 a year. And the seminars, I believe, are about $125, and that includes your meals. And you get a hobnob with saddle makers that have been in the business for 50, 60 years. And it's just way cool.
Awesome. So in 2022, you won the Munzel Award at the Colorado Saddle Makers Association. Can you describe what that award is and how did you end up winning that? It's a pretty prestigious little award.
It is. It is an award that is handed out to somebody that is in there doing above and beyond. And Howard Munzel is one of the co-founders of the CSMA. And so to obtain that award is outstanding.
Hey y'all, I want to talk to you about the very first sponsor for the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show, and it is Leather Machine Company. If you are looking to upgrade your workshop or to speed up the process on making items, then look no further than Leather Machine Co. They have various sewing machines of multi-purpose needs, along with leather cutting and splitting machines. Check out their website or give them a call for more information. Now, let's go back to the show. And let's talk about Duff's Leather Care. How did you get involved and how did you acquire this company?
All right. So Jeremy Gorell out of Colorado, he took and started this company. He started Duffs. He was wanting products that were all natural and wanted to fit what he wanted to obtain, what he wanted for a look, what he wanted for a conditioner. And so Jeremy, he ruined a lot of product getting to where it is. And I mean, I remember the first time I bought it. I bought his product about 9 years ago, and he didn't even have labels on the jars. We were writing on them with Sharpies, so we knew what was in them. And so I have used his products for 9 years. And a couple of years ago, we were talking about it, and he was talking about selling it. And then it went about a year, and neither one of us talked to each other about it, about purchasing or whatever. And so we was at our spring seminar in Grand Junction, and we started talking about it. And we took, and there were so many people around. I says, hey, Jeremy, let's go out to the motorhome. Let's talk about this. And he's going, well, I want a partner or I either want all of it. And I says, well, I don't want a partner. I either want all of it or none of it. And so we poured a shot of 1910 Pendleton and grabbed a cold beer out of the cooler, and we started talking. And next thing I knew, I was calling my wife and telling her to take money out of savings and put in checking. We just bought Duffs, and it's been a good thing.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of people using it and selling it, and everybody that we see at our shows. We've been to Pendleton twice. We've been to Prescott. We've been to Sheraton. We've been to Waco. We've been to the 3 Colorado saddle makers. We've got one of our Colorado saddle makers members that takes it to Wichita. And so he'll put a big order together and take it to the Wichita. We've got one of our Colorado saddle makers that's got a vendor's booth this year at the NFR. And he just purchased a big order to take, and so he's going to go down and distribute, and he's going to be a new distributor for Duffs.
And now, for all the things that entail Duff's Leather Care, can you talk about the different products you have and what they are used for?
Okay, so we make a liquid Castile soap, and it's hospital grade. We make a glycerin soap, and then we also make a leather dressing, which is a top coat and finish. And we use it on our thinner leathers. So when you get into your 6 ounce and thinner, down to 2 ounce, we just use strictly our leather dressing. When you get into your heavier leathers, your 10 ounce plus, 8 ounce plus, we'll use our oil first, and then we'll use our leather dressing for a top coat and finish. And it'll resist moisture. It's not going to resist a downpour. Our oil and our leather dressings, just like our other products, are all natural. You don't need to worry about ventilation. You don't need to worry about rubber gloves. In fact, when you get through putting our oil or our leather dressing, if you got any on your hands, just rub it in, because we're all leather, you know. And it all smells good. I mean, everybody that opens up a jar is going, oh, wow, this stuff smells way good.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about that. Let's talk about the smells, because that's one of the first things that attracted me to it. When I first opened up the jar at your booth one time, I smelled it and I was just knocked back. I was like, whoa. It reminded me of, there was an orange one, and then you had another one that I sampled, and it was lemon. And I am just a fan of these two. And so every time I use it on any products, I'm always like, oh God, it's so nice.
It does. It smells way good. And everybody that's the first thing they say. Oh, I mean, when people come to the show and you open up the sample jar, and the first thing they do is they want to smell it. And then they'll stick their finger in it, and then they'll rub it in. And I'm going, well, take a little more. And they start rubbing it in. In fact, I had a lady in Waco. She's going, this isn't going in the leather shop. This is going in the bathroom, you know, because she liked it for a leather cream or, you know, a lotion. And then we also make a boot wax that is not a real waterproof, because it's hard to make a waterproof. You know, everything's going to take a couple coats to make it more water resistant. But those, and then we have glycerin cubes. Don Gonzalez, he took and is going, hey Bob, you ought to make some cubes for guys to do edges. And so we come home from Prescott and we started putting cubes together for burnishing edges. So that's a list of our product.
So do you mind if we go make some of your product right now?
No, yeah, we can go do that.
Awesome. Let's go. Let's do it. Hey everyone, our second sponsor for the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show is none other than the Leather Crafters Journal. Carrying on a tradition of 68 years of publishing the magazine for leather workers and artists worldwide, they also host 3 trade shows in the United States and 1 in Europe. Give them a call or visit their website and use the promo code COMMUNITY, and you will receive an additional free magazine added to your subscription at no charge. The Leather Crafters Journal truly sets the standard with staying up to date on all things leathercraft. If it's about leather, it's in the journal. Now, back to our show. Hey everyone, the newest sponsor for the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show is Milwaukee Steel Rule Dies. They specialize in manufacturing your leather designs into dies for your clicker machine. They have state-of-the-art equipment that will help you level up your Leathercraft products and production with clean-cut leather every single time. Family operated and owned, proudly made in Wisconsin. Contact Milwaukee Steel Rule Dies for all of your leather dye solutions. All right, so Bob, so now that we've made a batch, can you talk about if there's any harmful chemicals in there? I know that you said some of it's good for your hands, but as the audience is watching this interview, is there anything that like they should be worried about or concerned about?
Nope. Everything in here is all natural. I mean, if you wanted a good cleanse, you could take and eat some of it if you wanted. I mean, it's good for you.
But we don't recommend that, though.
No.
Just want to make that very clear to you guys.
No, you don't want to do that. But, you know, I've got folks that have called from back east and says, hey, you know, we're tired of having to deal with fumes. We're tired of having to deal with rubber gloves. And so they'll say, well, what's your product? All right, well, you can take and do this without any of that process. And the majority of what you're trying to obtain is a one-step process with our products.
So for your leather dressing, does it come in solid form or liquid form?
Well, it depends on the temperature outside. Like right now in the shop, it's 75 degrees. So it's going to be solid and it's going to be a lot firmer. But once you get above, our product will liquefy and start to liquefy at 90 degrees. And it really likes body temperature. So when you're putting it into your leather and you're working with it, it's going to take and liquefy and it's going to penetrate.
And the humidity too, right?
Yeah.
That really affects it.
It does.
Especially for those folks out there in Waco who visit you at the Waco show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just becomes...
It
I mean, you could still use it in liquid form though, right?
Yes. I had a gentleman in California and he liked it better in a liquid form. He said it penetrated quicker and easier to apply in a liquid form. So if you want a liquid form, just pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds or 45 seconds. It'll liquefy, and then when you want it to go back to a paste, put it in the fridge or put it someplace cool. It'll go back to a liquid.
Yeah. So I met you at the Pendleton Leather Trade Show a couple years ago, and you had all your products out there with some sample, some tester jars. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody wanted to come and let's say they built a bifold wallet, can they use your product at your booth to sample it on their work?
Yes. In fact, we've had people come up and say, hey, will this product work for this? So we will find, like I had a gentleman come up and he had a real nice leather vest and he wanted to treat it. So we just put a little bit on the inside of his vest, inconspicuous place. And he come back a couple hours later and said, man, I really like this. And so he bought a jar. Just had a gentleman that took and hit me up saying he's had some leather furniture, been sitting all covered in dust, 15 years, hadn't been seen. He wiped the dust off, hit it with our leather dressing, and he says, it just like it was brand new.
Wow.
So our products, I always recommend if somebody's wanting it for something that I've never used it on, to try it in a spot that they're going to, you're not going to notice. I've got a rawhide braider up in Oregon. Been braiding since the 60s. He took and hit me up and says, hey, what's your product like on rawhide? And I says, I don't know. I've never wanted to ruin anybody's rawhide. So I gave him a jar and says, let me know what you think. Called me a week later and was going, this is the best stuff for rawhide. In fact, in Pendleton a couple of weeks ago, he bought a whole gallon bucket of our leather dressing, and he's gone through, I want to say, 10 or 12 of our 16-ounce jars of our leather dressing on his rawhide.
Wow.
And so I've got guys that are using it for burnishing edges. One thing that our products will not do is darken your leather. So if you want your leather to turn out dark, our products won't do that. They don't change the color. Maybe just a hint of change, but they won't change the color of your work.
Gotcha. Now, speaking of your products, can we talk about a proper order on how to use them? If, let's say, someone has some dirty tack and they want to clean it up, rejuvenate it, and let it sit for a little bit to bring back some luster into that leather, what are the proper steps in using your products?
All right. So a lot of guys, well, a lot of folks like liquid soaps. I've got one gentleman buys our liquid soap in half-gallon bottles. Then I've got others that, everybody's so used to the old saddle soaps and the old metal tins, like our glycerin soap comes in. They got to have something in that hand. And so they like the sponge that we sell in our cleaning kits. And so that's what they'll do. Our glycerin soap has a hint of olive oil in it. And so when it dries, it's already put a little bit of reconditioning into it. Depending on what you're cleaning, whether it's breast, collar, headstall, saddle, in your thicker leathers, once it dries, we recommend you hit it with the oil, let it sit for a day, and then hit it with our leather dressing, which will put you a nice top coat finish. And with our leather dressing, once it dries and say 6-7 hours, even the next day, you want to put a luster on it, you can take and hit it with an old sock or a piece of wool skin, and you'll get a luster. It's not going to be a high shine, but you'll get a luster out of it. And if some of your tack has got other products on and it's hard to clean, I have noticed that our oil will penetrate certain products and go past that finish and help you rejuvenate.
So where do you see Duff's Leather Care going in the next 5 years? Because you are relatively new to this leather game here, and a lot of people are taking notice on this leather care game here, that you're killing it, Bob. It is like, I use it on my stuff at home, especially the leather dressing. So I'm going to use your leather oil here real soon. So I'm going to give that one a whirl. But where do you see Duff's going in the next 5?
The next 5, it's like everybody else. You want to be in every Murdoch's, Cow Ranch, IFA, Tractor Supply, mom and pop feed store. We're looking at trying to see what we got to do to get it in the UK, because next year we would like to go to the Netherlands with the Leather Crafters Journal and get our product over there. Mm-hmm. So next 5 years, I'd like to see it in every store we walk into.
Now, riddle me this. What product, off the top of your head, would you like to see Duff's expand into that you don't have already? Because you already have the boot wax. You have a bunch of different soaps. Is there anything that you haven't dabbled in yet that you wish that you can get to some point someday?
A one-stop or a one-step antiquing process. I've already played with it, and that's mixing antiques and making it a one-step antique process instead of having to put a resist on, then put the antique on, wipe the antique off, and then put a top coat. Mm-hmm. And then also a shap wax.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Like to take and come up with a shap wax.
So to wrap this up, let's talk about how people can contact you and buy your product, or where can they buy it from some of your retailers?
Okay, so we have a website, and we're still working on tying Shopify and our website together. Our website's leathercareproducts.com. And there's an email address, and so you can just email me on there, or you can call me at my phone at 435-650-9288. Or Don Gonzalez out of Moulton, Texas. He carries our products and sells them. Maker's Leather Supply out of Elmont, Texas, carries it. Panhandle Leather is now added to what they were carrying out of Amarillo, Texas. Montana Leather carries it out of Montana. We got the Glove Lab out of Phoenix, Arizona that makes baseball gloves. In fact, he just bought a case of our glycerin soap because he tried it and he's loved it. He's now got some of our boot wax to try. He's using our leather dressing and selling it. We've got Clay Miller is selling our cleaning kits. We've got, who else? Oh, we got Brian Harms out of California. He's got a mobile tack shop that is carrying it and selling it. So he goes to all these horse shows and selling it. Let's see who else. We got our local feed store here in Heber that's carrying it and selling it. But hopefully we can get
You got a good amount of people here holding your product.
We also got a boot shop.
Oh, wonderful.
The shoe and tack store out of Jerome, Idaho. They manufacture, they make boots and then they also repair them. And they carry our leather dressing and our boot wax. In fact, every pair of boots that leaves their shop has a can of our boot wax with them.
Well, Bob, I wish you nothing but more success in the Duffs Leather Care. And I know that those who attend the trade show get to use it, and hopefully they get to use it in the classrooms because it's a really good product. And if they have not used it yet, they will soon. I promise you. It's I think the smell is going to get everybody. I can't even gonna tell you how much the smell is just, it puts a smile on your face because it is not, it's not a chemical.
It takes you back.
Yes.
It takes you back to a lot of products from way back when.
Yes, that's right.
You know, when grandma was using it or
like the lemon pledge.
Yes.
For when you would dust and polish the wood tables and stuff. That's exactly what it's like.
It does. It takes you, it's one of those little those smell triggers that takes you back in the day.
Yeah. It's a subconscious trick, I think.
Yep.
So, all right, Bob, thank you so much for your time.
Well, appreciate it, Steve.
I can't thank you enough.
Coming.
Hey, this has been great. All right, you guys, thank you for watching yet again another awesome episode of the Leathercraft Community Podcast Show. Take care, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.